I'm going to presume that writers generally do not want to make their characters stupid for the sake of plot. But if everyone is smart, logical, practical, then how do we prevent our stories from being
really f***ing boring?
How do we create conflict and drama? How do we cause problems for our characters to overcome? How do we get them to mess up, learn, and change? That's what we're discussing today. As you may have guessed, this video was inspired by Patrick Willems' Shut Up About Plot Holes. In particular, his assertion that,
So if everyone acted totally logically all the time, only making the most logical decision in any situation, no one would be acting human. Thus, there would be no conflict, which would lead to no drama, which would lead to no stories. And movies would be really f***ing boring.
There are already videos that break down the problems with his arguments overall, so I'm not going to retread that ground. I wanted instead to talk about practical ways to approach writing conflict and drama while keeping your character's behavior logical. To do that, we first need to understand what is logic. In a nutshell, logic is thinking sensibly. It's processing available information to reach reasonable conclusions. And as writers, we control what information our characters have and how they process it. So, trick number 1. What they don't know can hurt them. Give your characters incomplete or faulty information. In Megamind, the titular character uses the superpowered DNA of his defeated nemesis, Metro Man, to create a new rival, Titan. And in case Titan goes rogue, Megamind has a failsafe ready to stop him. Or so he thinks.
You're powerless against it! It's the very same metal used to defeat Metro Man?
It's perfectly logical for Megamind to create a failsafe from the same material that he reasonably believed was Metro Man's kryptonite. But he had been tricked. The information he had was incorrect. In Memento, Leonard is constantly operating with incomplete information due to his short-term memory loss. He's just doing the best he can to navigate each interaction he finds himself in while trying to further his own goals, which is logical. But not knowing where he is or why, how he got there, who he's with, etc., leaves him vulnerable to manipulation by others.
Something doesn't feel right. I think someone's f***ing with me, trying to get me to kill the wrong guy.
And himself.
You don't want the truth. You make up your own truth, like your police file. It was complete when I gave it to you. Who took out the 12 pages?
Trick number 2, logic is in the eye of the beholder. Give your characters the same information, but have them process it differently. Let's say you give 2 people a puzzle. One sorts and flips all the pieces first, the other dives right in and organizes as they go. One starts piecing the edges together first, the other starts with the interior. One finds connecting pieces based on the picture, the other finds connections based on the shapes. Is either of them acting illogical? No. But for various reasons, they have different perspectives on what is the more sensible approach to solving the puzzle. The same is true for our characters. Their experiences, their knowledge and skills, their personality, beliefs, and motivations will all affect how they view the world, how they problem solve, what their priorities are. This will naturally put them at odds with others. 2 perfectly logical people can still fight over, say, whether or not to buy a dishwasher, because one prioritizes saving money while the other prioritizes saving time. Flipped is a fun movie that goes back and forth to show the same events occurring from 2 different characters' perspectives.
I was about to tell her to get lost when the weirdest thing happened. I couldn't believe it. There I was, holding hands with this strange girl. How did I get into this mess?
And as the film progresses, it also shows how their perspectives change as the characters grow up and change due to their experiences. Trick number 3, every coin has 2 sides. Give your characters different, perhaps conflicting information about the same thing. In District B13, great movie by the way, Damien is the government's most loyal and skilled infiltration agent, hell-bent on making a positive difference in the world. When he's sent into a lawless zone to find and disarm a stolen rocket before it can harm innocent civilians, he fights tooth and nail to complete the mission, making a local ally along the way. But at the last moment, his ally, Leto, suddenly fights to stop him from inputting the code he's been given for disarming the bomb. Why? Because Leto, having grown up in that zone, knows the government is not invested in saving the people in his district.
Tu seras plus là pour la voir, mais elle sera toujours là et c'est votre putain de rôle de faire quelque chose pour que ça s'arrête!
T'as pas encore compris, tête de piaf? Des murs et des barbelés tout autour, ça te rappelle rien? Ils vont te mettre un couvercle là-dessus et tout faire péter. Voilà comment ils vont la faire disparaître.
Thus, he feels certain the code for allegedly disarming the bomb will have the opposite effect. Trick number 4, what is logical is not always acceptable. Put your character's sensibility at odds with the morality of others. This is often used to create conflict between protagonists and antagonists. In the Marvel movies, before obtaining the Reality Stone, Thanos had a logical solution for resource shortages. Wipe out half the planet's population and voila, plenty of resources to go around. But the heroes, naturally, took issue with that approach.
Your planet was on the brink of collapse. I'm the one who stopped that. Do you know what's happened since then? The children born have known nothing but full bellies and clear skies. It's a paradise.
Because you murdered half the planet.
A small price to pay for salvation.
You're insane.
In I, Robot, Detective Spooner hates robots because they only make the logical choice, not the right one. A robot chose to save him and let a little girl drown because it calculated that his chance for survival was higher. And Spooner recognizes that this cold logic, which does not factor in the human element, makes the robots a threat to humanity. But this friction between logic and morals is not relegated just to enemies. When Zuko and Iroh are struggling in exile, Zuko is not above stealing provisions for them, but Iroh does not approve of this.
Where did you get these?
What does it matter where they came from?
In Hacksaw Ridge, Desmond Doss joins the army as a medic to support the fight against the Axis forces, but the other soldiers are concerned he may be a greater hindrance than a help because he objects to using or even carrying a weapon himself. Trick number 5, what is logical is not always effective. Make your character's sensibility a disadvantage. This can be achieved by making your characters the smart but socially inept archetype, like Sheldon Cooper or Commander Data, but it can also work simply by creating situations where the logical solution a character chooses only leads to more problems. In The Fellowship of the Ring, Frodo chooses to go through the mines of Moria rather than try to cross over Caradhras. This seems a sensible choice since the mountain pass is less than hospitable, and Gimli asserts that the road through the mines will be safer and easier. But then it turns out that the Dwarven city has been laid to waste by goblins, and they aren't even the worst thing down there. In the first few episodes of the One Piece anime, Koby dreams of joining the Navy, but he knows that his past 2 years of service to pirates would destroy his chances of being accepted. Thus, he intends to conceal the truth about his previous employment. But Luffy is honest to a fault.
太った女の海賊がいて、こいつその女海賊のとこで2年間も。やったなこの野郎！この野郎！
君らが仲間じゃないことはよくわかった。入隊を許可する。
Later, it's revealed that the commander knows the two of them are friends, but because Koby showed his conviction by being willing to fight Luffy, the commander trusts that he's not just a spy. Dishonesty seemed like the logical choice for Koby, but if he had chosen that approach, it may have backfired on him. Instead, honesty is what was effective. Ultimately, keep in mind that
it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose.
Just because your characters do the completely correct or logical thing in any given situation does not mean that they must always succeed. They can still be outwitted, outgunned, outmatched. They can still find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. They can still be blocked by obstacles they could not have foreseen. Trick number 6. When a character needs to use the door, don't mention the window. Keep in mind, as writers, we also have control over what information the audience has. Take, for example, A Quiet Place. Many viewers were left confused as to why the family didn't simply build their home next to the waterfall, because the writers showed that the waterfall created an area where it was safe to make noise. But if a waterfall had never been established as a safe zone, or if it was not so readily available, or if some explanation had been given within the content for why the family could not live there, then the audience would not be criticizing the character's actual choice of residence as illogical. I mean, we don't criticize the fact that Forrest Gump waits at the bus stop instead of just running to Jenny's house because we don't know how close she lives until he finds out. After which, he immediately chooses the logical option and uses his own 2 legs to get there as fast as he can.
You don't need to take a bus. Henry Street is just 5 or 6 blocks. Down that way.
Down that way?
Down that way.
It was nice talking to you.
Everything works out for you.
And we don't question why the Mitchell family doesn't simply upload the kill code via their phones, because we see their phones destroyed before they learn about the kill code. And then they pursue the next reasonable option which is provided.
You could stop us quite easily. You could also enter the kill code remotely at any PAL Labs retail store. There's one at the Mall of the Globe, a nearby shopping center.
But it's super far away. You'll never
It's
make...
80 miles away. What are you doing to me right now? Did I not do good?
Oh my gosh, that is so close!
By limiting the number of options the character and the audience knows are available, we can tailor scenarios to make our character's choice the most logical choice. Or maybe we just make it appear to be such. Another way of controlling the information your audience has is to employ an unreliable narrator. Memoir and Fight Club are both a great example of this. Until we, the audience, discover the twist in their stories, we trust that the main character's presentation of the obstacles and available options are accurate. So even when they are technically making downright illogical choices relative to their stated goals, we believe them to be acting logically. Which brings us to our last trick. Trick number 7, a total eclipse of the heart. A character does not have to be objectively logical, but they need to be believably logical. Often, when fans of a story try to defend a character acting illogically, they will try to excuse the action as emotional, because we often consider emotions and logic to be opposites. But really, emotions are just another source of information, both in real life and in our writing. If the audience witnesses one character causing another emotional pain, it will be considered perfectly logical for the hurt character to distance themselves from that person.
You are one dynamite gal.
Wow. You are one dynamite gal. One dynamite gal. Dynamite gal. Dynamite gal. Dynamite.
Get out! All I said is you're a dynamite gal.
I said get out!
Or when the audience sees bad experiences pile up in conjunction with a particular aspect of a character's life, it will make sense to see them then seek to reconnect with people, places, or even items from their past which brought good experiences. Inside Out is literally an emotional movie, but that does not make it devoid of logic. We can see and understand Riley's internal logic behind her decision to run away.
All the good core memories were made in Minnesota. Ergo, we go back to Minnesota and make more. Ta-da! Wait.
Although emotional and impulsive, her choice was not random or illogical. It was grounded in her established beliefs, which were based on information she had gathered through her personal experiences. Such is true for any character. The key is, unless you want your character to appear illogical, their emotional, internal logic must be clearly established for the audience and kept characteristically consistent. And really, that's the case for the other tricks as well. Someone criticizing your character's choice or behavior because they personally cannot relate is not a flaw with your writing. But it is a problem if someone is criticizing your character's choice or behavior because they cannot believe that character would do what they did with the information available to them. In a situation like that, either you need to edit the information you've given the character and/or audience to better establish, explain why the character would do that, or you need to reevaluate your choice to have them do that, and perhaps edit the character's decision or action to better fit their established characterization. So there you have it. 7 ways to include conflict, drama, obstacles, all that good stuff which prevents our stories from being
really f***ing boring.
without having to exclude logic. If this video has been helpful to you, let us know in the comments. Leave a thumbs up, share it around with your friends, subscribe to the channel for more, leave a super thanks and/or check out our Patreon if you want to support our content, like these awesome people whom we are very grateful to. Don't forget to stay loud and proud, folks, and I'll see you around.
That's not it.
What the? You don't get to just do that. When Zuko and Iroh are struggling in exile, Zuko is not a Zuko? Smart but socially inept archetype like Sheldon Cooper or if some explanation had been given within the content for why the family could not Okay, now that my voice is dead.